All right, guys. So let me apologize in advance. I'm in my workspace here, so it's a little cramped, and my bench here is a little squeaky. So please forgive all of the noise in advance, guys. What I'm doing here today, I picked up a couple of vintage vehicles that I've had for a couple of weeks now. Obviously, if you get a look at some of these, there are some missing pieces, obviously, on all of these vehicles. So these are all restoration projects that I will be working on to glue the handle back on so I can get it so it'll flip back and forth. I'm going to get that done here today. Went ahead and purchased the front landing gear, the front leg on the landing gear on this vehicle. Now, as you can see, it does have its original landing gear here, but the leg is actually broken. It won't stay in place, so that's why it's not standing correctly there, as you guys can see. We're going to also replace that here today. Just so you guys are aware, this is going to be a bit of a series that I'm going to kind of do on the channel. It's going to be part of my project series. It's going to deal with the vintage vehicles here today. So this is going to be my vehicle restoration project, and it's going to be featured in my project series, just so you guys are aware. So we are actually focusing on the Y-wing here today, and just so you guys can get a very good look at her, and I'm going to try to keep her in the shot, but it's very difficult. But as you can see, still in very decent condition, missing the two front guns there. I'm going to get that as well. We're also missing our astromech unit that would go on the inside there. Let's see, and then obviously we're missing, I forget exactly what these extensions are, but the part of the engine extensions here are missing on it. The electronics on this do work. I did put the batteries in. There's no batteries in it at the moment. I don't believe. No, there is. I can't demonstrate the electronics at this moment, but the electronics on this vehicle do work. So that is very, very cool to have that at least in place. There she is, and again today, guys, we're going to focus on the bottom front landing gear that is broken, and we are also going to focus the top canopy of the Y-wing here today. All right, guys, so to start off, we're going to start off simply with just trying to fix the canopy here and the handle here, so we can get this door in place and hopefully get it operating normally, where we can open the door, open it and close it, and we don't have to keep propping it up there as I've had to do since I purchased the vehicle. So I purchased this for the Y-wing itself for about $25. You know, I couldn't pass it up. I've been trying to get me a Y-wing for the longest time, and any of you guys who are collectors out there, you know that these things are quite expensive and very hard to get. And whenever you get an opportunity to get one, you need to jump on it as quickly as possible. We're going to get a look at all of the vehicles here today. I'm going to get you guys a closer look at the Interceptor there. And of course, we have Vader's tie right here as well. And we'll get you guys a look at those restoration projects in just a moment. So while I wait to get this thing on here and dried, guys, we're going to take us a little break. Guys, so we're going to let that dry there just for a few minutes. But in the meantime, let's get a look at a couple of the other vehicles that I picked up here from Lou. So we are going to start with the Interceptor, which is one of my favorite vehicles out of the Star Wars, along with the Y-wing. All of these vehicles actually are favorites. I get excited every time I see any of them on TV. So there is a look at our Interceptor here, guys. And when I initially bought this, one of the wings was damaged, was beyond repair. So I did purchase a new left wing, I believe it was. This wing here from eBay. There it is, guys. Now, it's pretty much has all the parts. However, there are a couple of flaws with this vehicle. For instance, the ejector button that ejects the wing off is broken. I believe it is repairable, but I need to look up and see how that is done. I do have the spring that goes on the inside that ejects this out, but however, that spring is not on the inside at the moment. This side does work. It is in perfect working condition. And then the other issue is the electron not working in this vehicle, unfortunately. So that is something that I will have to deal with. I have opened it up and looked at it. The wiring and everything looks to be okay. But what I don't know is, was it soaked in water for some reason? Was this vehicle sitting outside for whatever reason? And perhaps maybe that's the issue. I do notice that the butt doesn't quite press down as well. But still, nonetheless, a very cool vehicle, and I'm very glad to have it in my collection. And it didn't cost me all that much. I'm very, very proud of that vehicle. And that is going to be a part of our restoration projects. Fix that ejector button on the right-hand side. Hopefully I can get the electronics working on the vehicle. So that's my hope with that particular vehicle. And then on to Vader's top. This vehicle, I haven't really... The only thing I did for this vehicle is I kind of re-glued. This wing was broken, or it wouldn't attach properly. It would go on, but it wouldn't stay on. The wing kept falling off, so I kind of glued it on there. Apparently, you have these little attachments here on the side where it connects to the wing, and with this vehicle, for whatever reason, they won't stay on. The previous owner I see glued it on. That's what gave me the idea to glue this one on the other side. And I apologize, guys. It's very hard to see there, but I also glued that on. So the wings are glued on here for the moment. But what I may need to do is just go ahead and replace those wings altogether. Obviously, I am missing the top canopy on this vehicle. So that is also something that needs to be done. However, as you can see, the electronics work on it, and that's the best part. Now, it does make that noise, so that's something I need to look into. Probably crack this thing open and get a look at the motor. Possibly may need to replace the motor on this one as well. But I'm still glad that the electronics work on it. So there that vehicle is, guys. And we are going to get started on our leg on the Y-wing here. So let's go ahead and get that. All right, guys. So we're going to take this baby apart. Now, unfortunately, taking it apart does do a bit of, I'm not going to say damage, but it does upset the integrity of the stickers that connect where the pieces meet. Those stickers that have been applied, the original stickers that have been applied, have been compromised from the first time that I opened up this vehicle. So that is a very unfortunate consequence of having to replace the leg here. The stickers are available. I have seen the stickers available for this vehicle on eBay. So if that is something, if you are restoring one of these vehicles and you've had to compromise the stickers like I have, there is some hope where you can replace those stickers. It's just unfortunate that the original stickers need to be destroyed in order to get on the inside. All right, guys. So we got all of the screws loose, and just so you guys are aware, we removed the 4 screws right there from the front, as well as the 6 screws from this portion of the vehicle, and then there are also 2 screws right here that also need to be removed in order to separate the top and the bottom of the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Give me a moment. Okay, so we're going to remove the top from the bottom. So there it is, guys. And for those, for those of you who haven't ever seen on the inside, that's just what the top part looks like. We're gonna go ahead and set that down. And then, of course, These are the insides of the Y-wing, the motor, the mechanism, and everything, guys. And I'm trying to get that on camera for you, and I apologize if I'm doing a poor job of doing so. But there it is. It's very hard to get it in the shot. Let me see if I can back it up some. So there are the inner workings, the chair and whatnot. So in order for us to get to the landing gear, which is right here, guys, as you can see, I don't know if you can see that piece moving in there, guys, and I hope I'm not destroying the light, but it's right here, and it's actually right under the motor, or the wheels that actually turn the gun turret at the top. So that's a very delicate area here of this vehicle. So let's see what needs to be done in order to get in there, guys. So I'm going to remove this screw right here. Hopefully I'm not removing something that's going to damage anything. Now, so you guys understand, this is my first time doing this, so I could very well make a mistake here. I hope I do not. Even though this is only a $25 investment at this particular point, I still do not want to destroy the value that I could increase this vehicle to once I put it all together. So I do need to be very careful with what I do here at this particular moment to get to that. As you can see, I did remove the top mechanism here, which came off fairly easy, very cool, and I removed the larger wheel there as well. So there was only two pieces that needed to be removed in order to get to the leg part. It looks like the leg is going to be able to just slide right on out there. All right, guys, so there it is, the broken leg there. As you can see, the two arms are broken off. So we're gonna pull our new leg out. So let's get a look. All right, you guys, so there it is. There is our new leg compared to the older one, guys, and I apologize if it's a little blurry, but you can see where the missing pieces are and why our front leg was not doing what it needed to do, but we're going to change that now. All right, guys, so I wanted to show you how I got it in there. Basically just slid the leg through the hole there, and now I have the leg in the up position as if the vehicle is in flight, and the two back legs are in the same position on the vehicle. So we are going to replace our engine parts there that control the top gun. So hopefully I didn't do any damage to the mechanism here that controls the top turret gun. So we are going to test that out and get a look at that. So let's go ahead and start putting all of the pieces back together on this vehicle. So we put our top wheel, the large wheel there that spins off of the motor, and then we are going to replace our top mechanism here that kind of gets everything going. So it is now in place. Just want to make sure. And then we're going to replace our screw here, so bear with me for just a moment while we get that done. So we got our screw back in place. All right, so we have our chair in place on our vehicle. So let's go ahead and put our top part of the vehicle back on. So we have our top piece back in place. So we're going to turn it, well actually we're going to get our two top screws here in place. So bear with me for just a moment while we get the screws in on this guy, and then we're going to check our landing gear and make sure it is working properly. And then we're going to check on our top here, our door, our canopy, and hopefully that will be operating normally, and we will almost have this Y-wing fit for flight. Not quite, actually. We're still missing some real key pieces. We can't have this thing fly off without its astromech, All right, you guys. So as you can see, we have our landing gear in place, sitting up very nicely. This is the first time I've had the vehicle sitting up on all three of its legs. So I'm very, very excited, very, very happy with the turnout. Also, the canopy is in place as well. So let's get a look at that and see how it opens. So there we go. So now we have it where it opens and closes. I don't no longer have to worry about the door falling off or anything like that like it was doing before. Now it is actually attached to the vehicle, so very happy about that. And then also we wanted to see, well, let's go ahead and check on the landing gear. Now, one thing I did notice on the vehicle, unfortunately, and I don't know if there's anything I can do about that, but when I bring the gear back up, the button doesn't quite go all the way to the back where I can get that to pull all the way up. Maybe I don't have it in the right position, so I may have to go back in there and check that. And then putting it back, it doesn't pop all the way down. I have to click it back down, so perhaps that's something I need to go back inside and check. Maybe I don't quite have everything like I should, but it is somewhat fit. One thing I couldn't do while it was in flight was keep that front landing gear from falling down, and then obviously trying to sit the vehicle up, I couldn't get it to sit up properly, but now that problem has been solved. So very cool, very happy. And then as promised, guys, here is a look at the electronics working properly. So very, very cool. I'm very, very happy with our progress on our restoration project. So I will most definitely keep you guys updated on the progress of this vehicle and all the other vehicles as well. We will get to those other vehicles and the restoration on those as well. All right, guys. So I wanted to do a real quick update on this particular vehicle. Because if you notice at the end of the video when I got the gear together or put everything back, the landing gear still wasn't working as perfectly as it should have. As you guys can see, the landing gear is down, retracts up. However, this particular leg doesn't go all the way up. You kind of got to give it a nudge and then it goes up, but it does stay up. And one of the problems that I did have was the landing gear falling down because it was sitting in there loose before with the broken piece. But now, since we've kind of fixed it, that is no longer the problem. Now, but what the issue is now is that I can't really get the front gear to work properly. In order to get it to go down, I have to physically do it with my hand. But it does, other than that, it does work, and it will sit up, as you guys can see, which before it did not. So we did solve that problem, but we're still not getting a fully functioned landing gear, and I found out why. So on the inside, there's the two forks that you guys saw earlier in the video, where the landing gear fits into and helps it to slide in its up and down position. Over time, basically, the plastic has become not warped, but it's softened up a bit, and it doesn't quite have the tension that it needs to fully allow this to pop in and out of position when it is when you're putting it up and down, putting the landing gear up and down. So for that reason, that's why when I go to put the landing gear up, it kind of goes really, and then you kind of got to pop it into place. And then, of course, coming back down, it's not catching that leg, basically. It's just not catching it to put it back in place. Basically, what's happening is that leg is sliding out of the groove that it needs to be in order to go up and down properly, simply because the tension is no longer there to keep it in place. So what I'm going to need to do to fix that is I saw another video by Retro Blasting in regards to the Y-Wing, and what he has done to fix that problem is use the plastic rubber bands that you would use for your braces, I believe. And the reason why you would use the plastic rubber bands for braces is because it is plastic and they won't dry rot like a rubber band would if you used a rubber band. So what I'm going to need to do is get the plastic rubber bands just as they did on the Retro Blasting channel. And I want to thank those guys for their information. And what I will do is wrap those rubber bands around the fork that holds the landing gear in place, and wrap those around. That will create enough tension for the leg to properly go up and down without me having to pull it out and do as I did just there. But in the meantime, until I get that done, at least we will have her standing on her own, if you will, if I needed to, on the shelf, so I can get her standing. And then of course, you know, again, once we get the proper fixings in place, we'll be able to move the gear as normal. So, you know, you learn something as you are restoring vintage vehicles like this one. And some of the pieces, movable pieces on your vehicles are just going to wear down. That's just a fact. And you're going to need to do something to adjust it and make it work properly. So that's all that is here. Not a huge issue. We still have some functionability with that landing gear leg, more function than what I had previously. So not bad, very cool. But I want to thank you very, very much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. And from the Father to the Son to the Obi-Wan Force Ghost, may the Force be with you always.